In the interest of starting right on time, I'm Pamela Baker-Massaw, Head of Communications. We will have 3 speakers. I will introduce Dennis Kelly. He is the director of the Smithsonian's National Zoo. Then Dr. Don Neifer. He is our chief veterinarian. He will give you a full account of this medical case. He will be followed by Dr. Brandy Smith, who will provide spellings of names. We will have a news release for you. And after everybody speaks, we will entertain questions in this format. And then if you would like to talk to anybody individually, we will help arrange that. You can ask myself, that is Devin Murphy in a blue shirt. She will be very happy to help you. Chanel and Amy right over there will be very happy to help you. Okay, it's 3:37. You want to start right at 4 o'clock? Okay, we're going to wait 3 minutes. We just want to start right at 4 o'clock, so have you got to, yeah, you just have a couple more. Do you want me to hold that?
Yeah, just tell me when to go.
It's a long minute when you stand at a podium.
Sure is, isn't it? Everybody hear me okay?
Go ahead.
My name is Dennis Kelly. I'm the director of Smithsonian's National Zoological Park. It is with sadness that I confirm today that today at 2:05 p.m. the smaller of the 2 giant panda cubs born this past Saturday to Mei Xiong has died. I'm happy to report that the larger of the 2 cubs is robust, thriving, and with its mom. In a moment, I'm going to ask Dr. Don Neifer, our chief veterinarian, to give us more details about his medical assessment of both cubs. And then Dr. Brandy Smith, who is the Associate Director for Animal Care Sciences, is going to describe how we cared for both cubs, as well as our plans for going forward. You know, this is a hard loss for us here at Smithsonian's National Zoo and Conservation Biology Institute. We were prepared for twins, and I'm proud of the incredible team, both here and in China, that has worked so hard to get panda cubs born and to take care of them. It's really hard to keep these tiny creatures thriving. I do take great comfort in the fact that the larger of the 2 cubs is thriving, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing it grow and contribute to conservation. When you deal with endangered species like giant pandas, every birth is a success. We have a success here. But to save giant pandas and other species from extinction, we must prevail in our work. Going forward, we're going to focus our attention on the remaining cub and give it the very best care possible. I'm going to ask Dr. Don Neifer to come up and speak a little bit more about the extraordinary care the medical team, the curatorial team has given this cub over the last several days. Dr. Neifer.
So as Dennis mentioned, we were prepared for twins. We did know that that would come with its own set of challenges. One of our practices that we took part in was to routinely swap the cubs out from mom into our incubator for care by our staff, and then back in with mom. The overall purpose being to allow both infants the benefit of spending time with their mother. Nothing replaces mom, and we wanted to give them equal opportunities to bond and to obtain the nutrients that she could provide. Most recent swap occurred this morning. At that time, the larger of the two cubs went back with Meijang and is currently with mom, is currently doing great, is very robust, is very strong, and is demonstrating all normal behaviors. And we are all extremely happy with this cub's progress. The smaller cub that we lost today was in our Panda care area on Monday and part of Tuesday. It had been swapped out from mom. During this time, the cub was noted to be strong and vocal and responded very well to all of the nourishment we provided, as well as the fluid therapy and supportive care that was provided by our nutrition, animal care, and veterinary staffs. Based on our comfort level at the cub's condition and overall progress, it was decided to get this cub back in with mom because that's our overall goal. We performed a successful swap Tuesday afternoon, and at the time of the swap, both cubs, the larger and the smaller, were vocalizing, were strong, and showing us no signs of concern. From that point and through the night, the Panda team, who was here 24/7 and observing their behaviors of both mom and the infant who was not with mom, exhibited strong behaviors and heard both cubs vocalizing, acting normal, and nursing for good amounts of time. However, this morning, when our team went in to perform the swap again, we immediately noted that the little cub had not increased in weight, appeared weaker, and was exhibiting possible respiratory issues. Our Panda team began administering antibiotics, respiratory support, fluids, and nutritional support as appropriate. Although we did see some slight improvement in the cub's overall condition and behavior, things turned and the cub's condition declined into the early afternoon. And despite extreme efforts on the part of our dedicated staff, we weren't able to change things. We've talked about why we swap cubs out. It was mentioned early on that Meijang, at the point of her second cub being born, was showing us some challenges with handling both animals. She was showing no preference for either cub. In fact, she was trying to do her best with both, but was having some challenges in manipulating them. We had some concerns that a cub may be injured or both may be injured, and per our protocol and per the protocol that our Chinese partners have been using for years, we decided to move forward with swapping cubs back and forth with mom. It's obvious we were prepared, but it's not surprising that we're disappointed. What we do want to do, though, is turn our attentions, learn what we can from this event to help panda conservation in the United States and internationally, but we really want to focus on what we also have, which is a healthy panda, and we remain very optimistic about that animal's future. I'm going to have Brandy Smith come up and address the group on some of the reasons and steps that we've taken in providing for care for our pandas.
First, I'd like to thank the entire Panda care team, the keepers, the curators, veterinarians, nutritionists, biologists who have been here round the clock since those twins were born. We've had an incredible team that was very well prepared for Meishang to give birth to 1 or to 2 cubs. In fact, we were so prepared for these twins that as soon as that second cub was born, we contacted Zoo Atlanta, who had experience raising twins 2 years ago, and within hours, we had a keeper here from Zoo Atlanta who was helping us care for both cubs. We learned quickly that Mei Xiang was having trouble caring for 2 cubs, and so as per our protocols, we immediately began assisting her with raising them. And this meant that we would care for 1 cub while she was nursing the other, and then we would switch them back and forth so we could help her make sure that both would be cared for. Right now, we still have a very healthy mom and 1 very healthy baby. And as animal care, this is our job to make sure that both mom and cub survive and continue to thrive. So the little cub that we have now, all appearances, is healthy and doing well. And Mei Xiang is the same incredible mother that she was to Bao Bao and to Taishan. And so our goal right now is the team working with Mei Xiang to make sure that this cub survives.
Okay, we'd be very happy to entertain any questions at this point. Dennis, Don, or Brandy are happy to take questions. Go ahead, Mike.
Just run through the sequence of events. I'm not quite sure I understand which cub was with mom at the end.
You just like the sequence of events of which cub was in the incubator, which cub was with mother in the past 24 hours? Sure. I'll let Don handle that. Don, you want to just briefly summarize that?
Sure. So since yesterday afternoon, the smaller cub, the cub who, I'm sorry, let me go back. Since yesterday afternoon, the larger cub, who is now back with Mei Xiang and is doing great, was in the incubator. We, yesterday afternoon, had placed the smaller cub with Mei Xiang for the purpose of getting nutrients from mom and gaining some weight and allowing for some bonding. So this morning at the swap out, the larger cub went in with mom. The smaller cub came out, and it was at that point we noticed that the smaller cub was having issues.
Did anything happen when the smaller cub was with mom?
No, nothing that we can tell. I hope you appreciate the, instead of a 1 to 700 size ratio of baby to mom, I believe this small kid was around 1 to 1,500 size ratio. So, you know, mom's able to literally hide it under her chin, hide it in her armpit, lay on her side, and not let any of us see that baby. So we relied a lot on what mom was doing. Certainly if mom had dropped the baby, and it would have been obvious that something was going on. She never showed us any signs that she was concerned about her infant. We did hear vocalizations. We did hear what we presume in Panda language to be rooting behavior and nursing behavior. We were very hopeful and optimistic that this kid had latched on to her nipple and was getting adequate food and sustenance from her. Suspect Mei Xiang was doing everything right. We weren't able to see everything that was going on with that child. It's just not possible. Yeah, so that I want to clarify that. That's a good question. There's been some misunderstanding that she has preferred one cub over the other. That's not been the case. When the second cub was born, there was some frantic behavior on her part, trying to literally balance and juggle these 2 kids at the same time. Our team, recognizing that 1, pandas don't have a great track record of being able to raise twins, and 2, because we've established protocols based on a lot of experience of our Chinese partners and others, that the standard is to go in and remove one of those infants. We did that. Obviously, in a perfect world, we would have taken the baby that was just born. We think we did. We're not exactly sure we did. But mom never showed a preference. Now, during the swap back tech times, there were days when she was a little less interested in taking that baby. But that occurred where either baby is concerned, not one or the other.
Go ahead, Mike.
Don, what kind of respiratory assistance did you give to this?
Sure. Good question. So the baby was in an incubator. Incubators allow for us to manipulate and control both temperature and humidity. Both of those things are very important for the baby's metabolism and also for respiratory function. You know, make sure you have nice, moist, normal trachea and respiratory tree. We also were able to provide supplemental oxygen, upwards of 100% pure oxygen, into the incubator, which of course is going to make anybody who's had a cold, it's going to make breathing a lot easier if you don't have to breathe atmospheric air. The other thing we were doing was providing a technique called nebulization. If anybody's used a humidifier, it's kind of similar to that. This is a machine that can take saline, it can take products that help break down mucus, it can take antibiotics and other drugs and aerosolize them into very fine particles that are taken in by you, me, or a baby panda, go down into the respiratory tree and go to the site where there are issues, whether that be an infection, mucus, or other problems. So those were the means of which we were providing respiratory support.
Now, what do you do moving forward with the cub that you do have? Are you going to be taking, or how often are you taking the cub out?
It's an excellent question. I'm going to let Brandy field that one for me, though.
So we know from Mei Xiang's history that she is an excellent mother when she has a single cub, and we see all evidence that she's continuing to do that. In fact, some of the challenges we had with swapping the cubs is that she was being such a fiercely good mother to the cubs she had in her hand. We sometimes had difficulty in making the swaps. So we're going to continue to monitor her. So we have a different set of protocols in place. Right now, which we've been doing all along, is we actually have a team of people who are monitoring her with her cub. We're making sure that that cub is nursing, listening for those vocalizations, make sure Mei Xiang's behaviors are all appropriate and that she's doing well. We're also providing her with fluids. So several times a day we go in with a little bit of apple juice, some diluted apple juice, and we offer it to her to make sure that she has everything she needs to take care of those cubs. I think it's, so you're looking at a member of the Panda team, and we've all been awake since pretty much Saturday, so I will try not to be too emotional, but you know, every giant panda in the world is important. Part of it are these, you know, these individual animals that we care for, but you're part of a greater conservation story where we're actively saving a species, and we know that these animals matter. And the incredible joy that you feel when you have these two beautiful, just fragile, delicate cubs, and you have the awesome responsibility of helping a mother panda care for those cubs. I mean, it's such an honor, and at the same time, the superhuman efforts that staff made to keep this cub alive. I mean, the entire Panda House was filled with the best medical, the best animal care team in the world. That house was filled with that team. And so we were so incredibly hopeful because we knew the talent we had on site. And then when we realized the cub wasn't going to make it, it was devastating.
Is there a likely cause of death at this point?
Don, you can repeat the question.
So the question is, do we have a feel for why this cub died? We have what's called a differential. There's several possibilities, but honestly, we won't know until a full necropsy is performed, and possibly not until we receive back slides from those tissues, which is called histopathology. We will be working with our pathology team here in concert with our Chinese partners to collect the appropriate tissues and run the diagnostics. We've talked in the past that these cubs are very fragile. They're subject to changes in temperature. They don't have the ability to thermoregulate. They really need to constantly have food coming into the furnace in the form of glucose. Whether or not any of those things resulted in the animal's immediate demise or set the cub up for infection or other immune problems, we won't know for some time.
Okay.
You said that you hope to learn from this moving forward. What have you learned from this experience?
Every animal that we hand rear, or every animal that's mother reared, and we do behavioral observations, that in itself increases our knowledge base. In part, we have a large staff here. Everybody comes on with different levels of experience with different species and taxa and techniques. That room was full at all times of people watching and doing and learning. So every time we have a panda birth, and if we have to hand raise, we talked before about that really making us go from 0 to 60 in terms of labor and what we need to do. But a lot of people came out of this procedure or this event, they've seen baby pandas bottle raised, they've seen baby pandas swapped out. That whole group of people, some of which are very young in the field, they can go elsewhere, they can test best practices, they can help other institutions with pandas or panda-like species in management. When we receive back our results from pathology, depending on what they identify, may alter the way we approach the next panda cub, and we certainly will share that information with our partners. It's kind of what we do in zoos now. We don't live in bubbles. Everything goes out. We try to make things better as we all deal with what's going on in the world with species and environments. So it's exponential potentially.
If there aren't any last questions, I just want to thank you very much for coming on such short notice. And with that, my colleagues will be available for any direct questions. Thank you. Good job. Okay.